Hey guys, it's Simon with Caddis Fly Shop, an Oregon fly fishing blog, and it's March, and if you haven't seen a March brown yet, I bet you'll see one next time you go out. I've got a little March brown hackle stacker emerger here for you. It uses kind of a different technique that I think is really important, especially in the spring. March browns find real slow water to emerge in, and this rides real low. And when March browns come off, there can be a lot of them, so you really got to stand out as an easy meal for fish, and that's exactly what this one does with the hackle stacking method up here, and a little bit of CDC. So we'll take a closer look at what it looks like, but this is a really sweet fly. Looking closely at this one, it uses what they call a Sedge hook from Ahrex, so it's kind of got a curved profile. You got a little shuck back here of EP fibers, and then pheasant tail, CDC, really great material, a lot of movement, works really great for kind of hanging emergers like this. And then this is a technique called hackle stacking, and it allows for, excuse me, a really low riding emerger right here. So it kind of sits right in the film, there's really nothing right here, and it is perfect for exactly where March browns emerge in that kind of slower water in the spring where they can find it, tailouts and whatnot. So kind of a new technique for you guys, and that I'll show you guys how to do. I don't know if it's ever been done on the channel. I've never done it for you guys. It's a technique I just haven't done in a long time, so we'll get to it. This is a really awesome one that I would definitely make sure you have in your box ASAP. Okay, so this March brown that we're doing is on the Ahrex FW 530 number 14. They call it a Sedge hook. I call it one of my favorite hooks. It's really good. As for the thread, use something light diameter. I like Semperfli Nanosilk. This is olive. I meant to grab my brown. Doesn't matter all that much because you don't see a whole lot of it, but I will list brown in the description list below, just because it fits with the pattern a little bit better. We're also tying blue wings today, and I forgot to grab my other one. So for the Shuck, since this is an emerger style fly, if I can find the material, this is a little bit of EP fibers in a color called March brown, which is very fitting. And less is more with this stuff. You know, the insects are small, the Shucks aren't big, so you just need a little bit. And we're gonna kind of wrap it right down the shank here. And this will also splay out these pheasant tail fibers that we're gonna add. So we're just putting a little shuck down there, and this is, you know, just a little target for those fish, because when they get picky, they look for a shuck, because that means the food is easy and it's not going to get away from them. And you got to think like a fish if you want to catch a fish. So what we're going to do now is take a little pinch of these pheasant tail fibers and do the same thing. And I like to have the tips pointing over the shuck. Not quite that much, so I'll snug it up a little bit, just like that. And then when you splay it out, it kind of kicks out, and it looks like, you know, the actual tail fibers from the nymph, or it looks like just more of the shuck body. So that's kind of the look we're going for, just like that. And we're going to bring a little bit of this up just to add a natural taper. You could snip it all off if you want, but I don't want to use my Nanosilk to build a body, because then I'm going to be back in the shop for more. So I'm going to just bring this back just a little bit, just to add a little bump right there, and we're going to snip that off. This is trash anyway, so I'd like to make use of it if I can. Next, what we're putting in is some extra small uni wire in gold. And this is just for counter ribbing. That is it. This is just to hold the fly together. This fly is going to get beat up in the best way possible, and you need to help it out a little bit. Next step, pheasant tail. I like to pick ones with long brown bits, because that means there's more brown for me to wrap with up this body. Just little tricks to help you when you're selecting your materials. You'll do enough of them where you wrap, find out it turns dark too quick, and you don't necessarily like that look maybe. And so that's kind of what's going on with why I picked this particular one. So what we're going to do next is we're going to wrap this up. Try my best not to block it so you guys can see what's going on. This is the beauty of a rotary vise. Saves you a little bit of time. Not that you're ever in a rush to tie flies. Sometimes you can be. So we're going to snip that off, and then we're going to counter rib this the opposite way that we just wrapped.
All right, one sec. You don't understand. I'm just going to make, it's being weird. It's like I have it on manual focus, and then it goes.
Oh, that's perfect, because I got to get feathers out anyways.
So you can just start cutting, whatever.
Here's one.
It's like literally the focus isn't changing, but it's not focusing on the fly.
Word.
It's very strange. Because the fly's not moving. Like, you know, like even when you move it back and forth, like you rotate it or whatever.
Yeah, it's not moving like this.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to counter rib here, which means do it the opposite way of the way you wrapped it. You can do it the other way too. It'll hold it together. Counter ribbing's the proper way. It's a little bit more work. If you got a rotor, you kind of got to do it the weird way. But it'll hold your fly together a little bit better. And it's not really necessary. The reason I chose extra small wire also is because I don't want a lot of extra weight on this. This thing's supposed to float, so I don't want heavy wire. You certainly could use mono or something else as well. 2 CDC feathers. If you have really, really, really good feather of CDC, you can use just 1. But I like 2 because, like I said, we want this thing to float. And what this is this is a stillborn cripple, or it's also an emerger, but what we're trying to mimic here, when I dry fly fish, I always try to mimic an injured insect, because trout, like most animals in the wild, are opportunists, and if you can, you know, create a fly that is suggestive of something that is an easy meal, that's what they're going to go for. It's just like people with fast food. You know, if it's easy, people are going to go get it. And if it's convenient. And to trout, that's what a little crippled emerger or stillborn or spinner, that's the name of the game with getting, especially big fish, to eat flies. So what we're going to do now is we've got this nice little emerging front wing as this fly is pushing out of his old skin. And what we're going to do now is, this is kind of optional. If this is too difficult, you guys can just clip this off or leave a little tuft here. But I like to bring this back. This is a technique I've used in other flies. I like to bring this back, and it makes like almost like a little bubble to help suspend the fly just a little bit more. So just over the back like that, we're just going to kind of double it over itself, and then we'll snip this excess off. The more CDC I can have on this thing, the better. I don't want all these little stringy CDC fibers in here. I'm sure it wouldn't matter all that much, but just for sake of how it looks, because I'm the guy who's got to photograph this, I like it like that. I'm sure it actually would help to leave those little ends, because it's just more stuff to move and float, but it's for the sake of the pattern and having it look nice, we're going to trim that off. This is a technique called hackle-stacking, if you have ever seen it, and it uses a material called Uniflex, or it's basically like a rubber leg on a spool. And this is rubbery, so when we do the actual hackle stacking, it actually helps the feather kind of bite into it so it doesn't slip. And to me, that's really important to me because it makes life really easy. I've done it with mono, I've done it with thread. Those both work. I'm not going to lie and say I'm the one who found this technique. I stole it from the famous Ties Flies on YouTube. And it just makes life easier. I saw him do it one time, and I'm like, you know what? That looks like a better mousetrap. And it is. Next, we're going to put a little bit of dubbing in. I've got some superfine dubbing, and I believe this is Beta's Tan. You can check the comments below, and I'll have the exact color, because I'll look up the code. But if I remember right, this is Beta's Tan in superfine. I don't think it's microfine. Anyways, you want a tannish, March Brownie colored dubbing for the body, and we don't need a huge dubbed body, just enough to fill in that space. So now you've got your Uniflex right here, and it doesn't matter if it's this camel color either. This is just, you know, March brown color, and I had it. So for hackle stacking now, we are going to rotate around and around and around, and actually you're going to want to bring your thread back also. And the beauty of Nanosilk is you can go over dubbing and it doesn't really screw things up all that much. So we're going to wrap and wrap and wrap up, just like doing a parachute. And then we're going to wrap back down also. This color is a whiting saddle, and the color is medium ginger, barred medium ginger, and it's a really good March brown color. You could do brown, you could do ginger, you could even do grizzly, but I'm not a huge fan of how that looks. But use what you got. This is what looks the best and likely works the best. But if you've got something else, you can swap it, and we're gonna pinch it off down there. Make sure that this is totally locked in, because you don't want this thing to unravel on you. And then we'll bring the thread up, and this is the cool part. So now you've got your little parachute here that's not going to move. To put it in, I kind of am going to pull some of these fibers to the side on the bottom. Some of them are going to get pinched down, that's totally fine. And what you're going to do is, this can be kind of loose like this. You're going to kind of lock it in here where you want it, down here. And then when you pull tight, it moves the hackle stacked fibers just like that. And if I redid this, I would pick just a little bit longer fibers. Hackle stacking is a really great way to use rooster feathers for dry flies that are too long, because it keeps them all up on top. But this actually looks pretty good. This one specifically in my box, if I tied one like this with the shorter barbules, I would like it for like a tail out, where I really want that fly to sit low. But this thing actually turned out pretty sweet. So what we're going to do now is we are going to whip finish down here. And as we whip finish, it's actually going to pop that CDC wing up just the way we want it, like that. And I'm going to snip this off. And as always, we are going to recruit the help of our buddy Solarez Bone Dry down here, just to lock this into place so it doesn't come apart on us. I let it soak in for a minute, really get into all those, into the thread and into the dubbing, and then what we will do now is cure it and flip it. Now you've got a pretty sweet killer March brown. I wouldn't use this style of fly in really, really fast turbulent water. It's gonna get knocked around. Plus, that's not really probably where the fish are going to be feeding anyways. This is tied with March browns in mind, and it will fish great in the slower water where you're going to find fish feeding this time of year anyways. So you can let it sink, you can let it ride on top, but the beautiful thing is it rides real low. So when fish are seeing duns or adults on the surface that can fly away, they see this whole body down here placing its profile into the water, and that is more suggestive of a insect that's emerging. So if you have any questions, drop them below. Come into the shop and grab this stuff, or if you're watching from out of state, visit us online at caddisflyshop.com. In the description, there are links for everything. We'll see you next time.